A pleasant morning to you all. How you all doing? Hope you're keeping safe, and I hope you're following through all the lessons we've been putting online. And please, I hope you're observing all the safety measures that you get on a daily basis, which are always washing your hands under running water with soap and applying alcohol-based sanitizer. And if you must go out with your parents, make sure you and your parents and siblings are wearing nose masks. It's very important. We shall not be partaker of this pandemic, deadly virus called coronavirus, in Jesus' mighty name. All right, our subject today is mathematics, and the topic we shall be treating is square and square root. Our subject today is mathematics, and the topic is square and square root, and it's for week 3 and 4. It's for week 3 and 4. It's for week 3 and 4. Okay, now, before we proceed in the lesson, there are very important things you should know. And that is why we have our learning objectives, which are the things that you're expected to know at the end of this lesson. Number 1, you should be able to explain the square of numbers as the number multiplied by itself. You'll be able to explain that the square of a particular number is the product or the answer of the particular number having multiplied itself. I hope you get what I'm trying to say. All right, you will understand better. Now, number 2, you should be able to explain the square root of numbers as one of the numbers multiplied by itself to give a particular number. You should be able to explain the square root of numbers as one of the numbers multiplied by itself to give a particular number. And lastly, you should be able to solve problems involving square and square roots. All right, let's go to the class proper. Now, in the next, yes, all right, so what are squares? I said earlier on, when I was trying to tell you what you should be able to know, or what you must have learned at the end of the lesson, I said you should be able to explain the square of numbers as the product or the answer of a particular number multiplying itself. What that means is, for instance, the square of 2 is 4. Now, it is 4 because 2 times 2 is 4. Therefore, the square of 2 is 4. So 4 is the product of 2 times 2, or 4 is the answer of 2 multiplied by multiplied by itself. How? You got that right. So the answer of 2 multiplying itself is 4. Therefore, 2 square is 4, or the square of 2 is 4. All right. So I said the square of a number is the number multiplied by itself. So when a number multiplied by itself, the product of the multiplication is what we call the square of that number. Is that clear? I hope you're following. All right. So therefore, the square of 7 is 7 times 7, 49. So therefore, the square of 7 is 49. Likewise, the square of 2 is 4. The square of 3 is 9. The square of 4 is 16. The square of 5 is 25. The square of 6 is 36. The square of 7 is 49. The square of 8 is 64. The square of 9 is 81. The square of 10 is 100. Now, like that, you should know or learn by heart and commit to memory the square of 1 to 100, or the square of 1 to 500. So, I just heard you scream. Did you scream? Ah, Mr. Abulara wants to kill me. How does he expect me to learn the square of 1 to 100? I am not going to kill you. Your memory is far more than that of a computer. And if you have a complex memory, that means you can store a lot of things. You can store a lot of information, far more than a computer can. So please put that good memory of yours to use, especially in solving mathematics and memorizing things, so you can do it. If I can do it, you can too. So let's go ahead quickly. Let's look at these examples. Examples number 1 says, find the square of the following. Before I do that, let me make my board a bit bigger so you can see how that is done. First, let me write that here, and I'll make the board bigger so we can work that together. All right, so I will work that together. Look at here. We want to find the square of 1.2. Now, what that means is that 1.2 squared. This is how it is written. Can you see that? This is how it is written. Okay. Now, what that means is 1.2 times 1.2. How do you do that? You can do this in two ways. You can do this in two ways. Is that clear? Now, the first way of doing it, which I can call method 1, is to change that decimal to fraction. How? Just remove the point. Remove the point. It becomes whole number. Take out this point and take out that point. So you have 12 times 12. Okay? 12 times 12 is what? Somebody tell me what the answer is. 12 times 12 is 144. A round of applause for yourself. Yes, you got it right. 12 times 12 is 144. Now, how then do we put back our decimal point? Don't forget, before we started this, I told you to take out the decimal point, right? So you moved out this decimal point one time, and if you can see clearly that there is just one digit after this decimal point. One digit after this decimal point. One digit after this decimal point. All right? That means one decimal place here and another one decimal place here. So if you add it together, how many decimal places? So you have 2 decimal places. And the interpretation of that is that in your answer, there should be 2 digits after your decimal point. There should be 2 digits after your decimal point. Is that clear? So in your answer now, there will be 2 digits after my decimal point. So count 1, 2, 1, 2. Then you put your point, and that's your answer. Or better still, you bring in the decimal point from your right to your left. So you bring it inwardly. How many decimal places? 2. So you go to 1 and 2. It's still the same thing. So your answer is still 1.44. Please, never you make a mistake of calling this 1.44. It's wrong. Numbers after decimal point are called singly. What did I say? Number after decimal point are called singly. That means you call them 1 by 1. So this is 1.44, not 1.44. Is that clear? Okay, now let's go to the second method, which I call method 2. And that is just multiplying it out using your multiplication method. So you say 1.2 multiplied by 1.2. Is that clear? 1.2 multiplied by 1.2. So 2 times 2 here gives you 4. 2 times 1 here gives you 2. All right? Do not put your point yet. Don't bother about the point yet. When you're done and you've gotten your answers, that's when you bring in the point. Is that okay? All right. So you come here, 1 times 2, right? Make sure you write the answer under the 1 because you're using this to multiply. 1 times 2 is 2. And 1 times 1 is 1. Then you can sum up. By summing up, I mean you can add it up. All right. So 4 plus nothing here gives you 4. 2 plus 2 here gives you 4. 1 plus nothing gives you 1. Is that okay? So your answer is 144. Your answer is 144. How then do we, is this our answer? No. That's a good question. That is not our answer. Our answer is not complete until we have put in a decimal point. Now here, you observe that there is 1 digit after the decimal point. That is 1 decimal place. That's just 1 decimal place, or 1 digit after the decimal point. Here, you also observe that there is one digit after the decimal point, just 1 digit. That means it has just 1 decimal place. So you add that up, 1 plus 1 here is 2. So in your answer, you must have 2 decimal places. That means there must be 2 digits after your decimal point. There must be 2 digits after your decimal point. So let's do that. Count 1, 2. That means your decimal point needs to be here. Okay? So that's why our answer will be 1.44. Like I told you, it is not 1.44, but 1.44. So the square of 1.2 is 1.44. Is that clear? quickly, let's go to example number 2. Let's look at what example number 2 says. Let me quickly share with you, and so we can look at what example number 2 is saying. Example number 2 is the square of 3.5. The square of 3.5. So we're going to do that quickly here. The square of 3.5. Okay. Number 2 is the square of 3.5. You want to find the square of that. So what that means is 3.5 raised to power 2. This is called the power. Can you see that? Okay. Can you see that? Let me bring it down a bit. Let me bring it down a bit, so you can all see what I'm writing. So over here, so it is, we want to find the square of 3.5. So I said it is 3.5 raised to power of 2. Excuse me, raised to power of 2. So that is raised to power, you can call this as raised to power 2. Okay, raised to power 2, if you can see that. Okay, raised to power 2. So this. All right, now that's not where we're going. What we intend to do is to find the square of this guy right here, which is 3.5. So it means 3.5 times 3.5. Okay? Now, how do you do this? Change each of the fraction to improper fraction. This is a mixed fraction. So change them to improper fraction. And that brings another question again. What is improper fraction? Or what kind of fraction do we call improper fraction? Now, let me quickly give you an instance. If you are carrying your dad on your head, is that even possible? Because dad is way bigger than you are, and dad is fatter, and dad has more strength than you are. If you're carrying your dad on your head, or you're carrying your mom on your head, is it proper? No, it's improper. So when someone who is really tiny, who is young, is carrying a very big stuff or heavy stuff on his or her head, that is improper. So the same thing. When a big number is being carried by a small number, simply put, when your numerator is bigger than your denominator, then that fraction is improper. So let's change this to improper fraction. How do we do that? You say the denominator multiplied by the whole number plus the numerator. I go again. Denominator 2 multiplied by whole number 3 plus the numerator 1. So it is 2 times 3 plus 1 over the denominator 2. I go again. The denominator 2 multiplied by the whole number 3 plus the numerator 1 over the denominator of 2. So you do the same for the other side. So you have 2 times 3 plus 1 over 2. So let's multiply out and add up. So what are you going to have? What are you going to have? Let me adjust that a bit so you can see what I'm doing. So what are you going to have? 2 times 3 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. So you have 7 over 2 times the same thing you get here, 7 over 2. So you are going to multiply out now, and that will give 7 times 7. Can you see? Over 2 times 2. Can you see that? Can you see that? It will give. Can you see that? All right. So what will our answer be? 7 times 7 is 49, and 2 times 2. 7 times 7 is 49. I'm trying to adjust so you can see. 7 times 7 is 49, and 2 times 2 is 4. Can you see that? So our answer is 49 over 4. Okay, that's how that is done. Let's go to number 3. Example number 3. All right. What do we have in example number 3? Let's quickly look at it and solve it as well. So example number 3 is saying 13 times 13. Someone tell, I'm not going to work that out because it's quite easy. Square of 13 means 13 times 13. And what does that give? That gives you, somebody said, yes, 169. And that's the answer for number 3. I mean, number 3, your answer is 100. And so the answer is 169. Is that okay? All right, so let's move on to the next thing. I want to show you a table here. The table is the square of 1 to 100. What I was trying to tell you in the previous explanation, I said you should be able to learn by heart and commit to memory squares of numbers from number 1 to 100. Is possible, is achievable. Say, I can do what I want to do anything if I put my mind to it. And that's so true. You can do anything if you put your mind to it. So you can learn this. So square of 1 to 100. Please, I need you to work with this table and learn this. It will help you in solving squares of numbers and square roots. Now, in the next slide, I explained what we mean by square root. All right, square root is the opposite of square. If you can get the square of a number, getting the square root of that number is quite easy, because you obviously have known or have learned the numbers that multiply itself or themselves to give that particular number. For instance, we know the number that multiplies itself to give 4. What number multiplies itself to give 4? I am listening. See, are you whispering in my ears? Yes, it's 4. I'm sorry, it's 2. It is 2 times 2 that gives 4. Therefore, the square root of 4 is 2. It's like going forward and backward. Here, we learned that the square of 2 is 4. That is 2 times 2 is 4. Down we are here, this is 4. What brought us here? What step did we take to get here? The step we took to get here was to say 2 times 2. So go back to what you multiply, or the number you multiply that gave you the answer. So what number did you multiply to give? For instance, what number did you multiply to give you 9? I multiplied 3 times 3. So the square root of 9 will be one of the numbers that multiply themselves, which is what? 3. Are you getting it now? It's as simple as that. So I explained here by saying the square root of any number is one of the numbers that multiply itself to get that number. It's that easy. I've just explained. Therefore, let me start from the beginning. The square root of 4 is 2. I need it. Now let's do mental reasoning very fast. As I give it to you, like when we do it in class, I give it to you, give it to me promptly, you know, very fast. So let's go. Square of 4, 2. Square of 9, 3. Square of 15, I'm sorry, square of 25, 5. Let's go back again. Square of 4, 2. Square of 9, 3. Square of 16, 4. Square of 25, 5. Square of 36, 6. Square of 49, 7. Square of 64, 8. Square of 81, 9. Square of 100, 10. So like that. No, I know you know it because we have learned the way we usually do it. We've learned 1 to 30 back and forth. The square and the square root. All right, so let's go to what I explained here. I said, for example, the square root of 36, that is 36, the square root of 36 is 6. Yes, there is something I wanted to show you here. Let me show you the symbol of square root. It's very important because some of you mix that up. This is how you write symbol for square root. This is the symbol for square root. This is square root. Is that taken? This is the symbol for square root. Now, if I may ask you this question, then what is this? The one written like this with 3 written at the edge here. What do you call this? If this is square root, what is this? Yes. Can you tell me where that is? There is a prize for whoever gets it right. Yes. Don't worry. Are you asking me how to get to you? Don't worry. I'll probably send I'll DHL it, or I will use Wi-Fi transfer, or I will do hotspot transfer, or I do WhatsApp transfer. Don't worry. Yes, this is cube roots. Cube roots. Yes, a round of applause for yourselves. You got it right. Now, do not ever mix this or mistake this for this. They are 2 different things. Now, someone just asked me a question. Now, I heard it in my spirit. You whispered it into my ears. that, excuse me, Mr. Ogunlaro, how come you're not putting 2 here? Because you're saying square root, and it is 2 numbers multiplying itself. Look at what gave us square root is 1 number multiplying itself. 2 numbers are involved. How come I didn't put 2 here? Excuse me, you don't have to put 2 there. If you put 2 here, it is wrong. We know that what gives square root is 1 number multiplying itself. That means there is involvement of 2 numbers. 2 numbers are involved. Yes. So we know that, but this is just symbol for square root. That is how, you know, there is what we call standard rule and standard units. In the world, we have what we call SI unit, that is International Standard Unit. It is like that. Leave Nigeria, go to America, is the same thing. So that's what we call international standard. So this is the symbol for square root, and this is the symbol for cube root. All right, don't mix it up. Okay, quickly, having said that, and shown you the symbol for square root, let's move on to the next thing. Let's move on to the next thing. All right. So I have also told you that you need to learn by heart, you know, the squares of numbers to 100. It will really help you a great deal. All right. Let's go to this next place. This one, I try to explain how these things are done. We have learned squares now, and we have also learned square root. Look at this box. There's just one box here because 1 times 1 is 1. So, and 1 has no multiplying effects. The effect of multiplying a number with 1 or by 1 is the same thing. So that goes to say a quick advice. Do not associate yourself with someone that will not add anything positive to your life. That is to say that you should carefully choose your friends. Be friends with those that will multiply you in every way, in good behaviors, in studying better, in doing good things of life. All right, so having said that, let's go to the square of 2. That is 2 times 2 gives 4. That's why we have 4 boxes here. 3 times 3 gives 9. That's why we have 9 boxes here. 4 times 4 gives 16. That's why we have 16 boxes here. 5 times 5 gives 25. That's why we have 25 boxes here. So when a number has been multiplied by itself, we say that the answer is a square number. Can you see why they are called squares? I have just explained why they are called square. The first 10 square numbers are 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, 64, 64, and 64, 81, and 100. 1, 4, 9, 16, 24, 36, 49, 64, 81, and 100. Can you see that? So quickly, let's go to the squares. All right? A square root is the opposite of a square number. I said it earlier on. They are like word and opposites. Word and opposites. Okay? If you do one, you can do a reverse or reversal or reverse action of that one to get to where you're coming from. That's what that means. So I have explained here. So 4 times 4 is 16. Therefore, the square root of 16 is 4. Now, let's go to this next table. All right, here. I just simply put the squares of number to 12. All right, to 12, which you can work with and commit it to memory. Make sure you surpass this and get to know the squares of 1 to 100. Now, I also did square root of numbers from 1 to 144. So square root of 1, like I told you, is 1. Square of 1 is also 1. So that goes to show that anything you do with 1 gives you 1. So if you associate with someone who doesn't have anything to offer, you just remain who you are. But if you associate yourself with someone who has a whole lot to offer you good things, then the person will influence you positively and you will be better for it. So that's what that means simply. So work with this and make sure you learn this. It's very important. So now let's go to this next table here. This next table, you can practice this on your own. Make sure you draw rows and columns, and make sure in your rows you have 1, 2, you have X, place for X, and 1 to 10 here, and do the same right here. the horizontally and vertically. Make sure you do horizontal 1 to 10 and vertically 1 to 10. All right. Now, this is how it works. This 1 multiplied by 1 gives this 1. 1 times 1, you can see 1 times 1 gives 1. Square root of 1 is one of these two numbers that multiply themselves to give 1. Is that clear? Is that easy? Come to the next place. 2 times this 2 here. 2 times this 2 gives 4. Follow the line. See the purple line from here upward. All right? So 2 times 2 gives 4. Therefore, square root of 4 is one of the 2. That's 2. All right? So follow this next line. 3 times 3 is 9. So if you want to get square root of 9, it is simply one of these 3 times 3 that gives 9. So square root of 9 is 3. So go to the next line. 4 times 4, 16. I hope you're following the blue line. Can you see? So therefore, square root of 16 is one of 4 times 4. That is 4. So that's how you follow it. 5, follow to 6 times 6, to 7 times 7, to 8 times 8, to 9 times 9, till you get to 10 times 10. So you can see it. See the way it's done. Sorry, let me bring it back. See the way it's done. So you can follow through from here down to this place. All right. So it's very easy. Work with it and make sure you play it over and over again. It will help you. Commit it to memory. Just like the same way we committed all our formulas to memory, that we recite them and we play with them every day, so that when you see any challenging question or you see any question at all, you know what formula to apply, and that will help you solve that problem. It's very important. So the same way this one is done. Now let's go to today's activity, which is the exercise that we're expected to solve. Okay? This exercise that we're expected to solve. Don't fret, don't chicken out, don't be scared. They are easy. Can you see them? Number 1 says, find the square root of the following. Yes, find the square root of the following. First, let me write number 1 question. Number 1 question, we have to find the square root of 1,764. Okay, I will make my board bigger so you can see how this is done. So you can have a better view of how I'm going to solve this. Yes, if you're told, you are given a big number and you're told to find the square root, don't fret, don't say I don't know it. If you don't know it firsthand, by just looking at it, if you can't tell what the square root is, it's very easy. Just relax your mind. How do we solve this? You express the number as a product of prime factor. You express the number as a product of prime factor. Someone said, how, Mr. Ogularo? Just wait. Let me show you how it's done. First, put this in the symbol of square root. So 1,764. How is it done? So you're going to draw a line just like this, and you put your 1,764. Yes, someone said, yes, I remember, Mr. Ogularo, I remember. Yes, you remember now. So that's how we're going to do it. So watch out. See how it's done. Check the last digit of that number. The last digit is 4. It helps you. Why must we check the last digit? Checking the last digit helps you to know what number will divide through this group of digits. It helps you to know what number. I've taught in class the trick. How do you know how to use, or when a number can be divided by 3? How do you know when a number can be divided by 2? So this is one of those tricks, all right? So checking the last digit tells you or helps you to know what number will divide that. So 4 is an even number. So obviously, this number can be divided by 2. Always start from the lowest prime number. So dividing this, in order to get our square root of big numbers, divide them through with prime numbers. So always start with the least prime number, which is 2. That is, if 2 will divide the number, how do you know? I have just told you. Check the last digits. All right, so let's get to work. So use 2. Okay, so 2 in 17, that gives you what? Hello, that gives you, I'm waiting, 8. Remaining what? 1. Because 2 times 8 is 16. So 2 in 16, 1 and 6. 1 and 6 is 16. 2 in this 16 gives you 8. 2 in 4 here gives you 2. Check the last digit again. That is 2. All right? That means 882 can be divided by 2. So let's go again. 2 in 8 gives 4. Is that clear? 2 in 8 again gives 4. While 2 divided by 2 gives 1. Check the last digit again. That is 1. That means because 1 is an odd number, it cannot be divided by 2. So what number will divide 441? Another odd number, 3. So it is 3 that will divide through. 3 in 4, that gives 1, remainder 1. So 1 and 4 becomes 14. So 3 in 14 gives what? I'm waiting. 4, yes. Remainder what? 2, because 3 times 4 is 12. So to take 12 away from 14, you have 2 left. So 2 and 1 becomes 21. So 3 in 21 gives you what? I'm waiting. 7. Good. Now check the last digit. The last digit is 7. 7 is an odd number. Therefore, this 147 cannot be divided by 2. What number will divide 147? Yes, tell me. Okay, yes, it's 3. So we're using 3 to divide 147. 3 in 14 gives you what? Waiting. 4. 3 times 4, 12. Take 12 away from 14, you are left with 2. So put the 2 right here. 2 and 7 becomes 27, right? 3 in 27 is 9. What will divide 49? That is 7. 7 in 49 gives 7, okay? Are you seeing it? Gives 7, okay? Now 7 divided by 7, 7 divided by 7 is 1. Now the next thing you will do is pair the numbers. The numbers that are the same, pair them. What do we mean by pairing? Group them in twos. Pairing means grouping them in twos. Pairing means grouping them in twos. So you say, group this 2. What have you grouped or what have you paired? 2. Write the 2 here. Group this, pair it in twos. What have you paired? What have you paired? 3. So put that there. So pair this. What have you paired? 7. Put that there. Can you even see? Can you see? Yes. So this is what you multiply out. 2 times 3 times 7. So what you have is 2 times 3 times 7. So 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 7 is 42. Therefore, you now conclude right here. Let me make the slide go down so you can see what I'm doing. Let me adjust it. So you therefore say square roots, can you see me? Square root of 1,764 is 42 times 42, which gives you 42. That is your answer. Very simple, right? All right. So let me clean it up and we'll go to the next one. Let me clean it up and go to the next one. What does the next one say? Now, let's quickly go to the next question. What does the next question say? All right, let's go to the next question and see what it says. Let's go to the next question and see what it says quickly. So the next question says, find the square root of 2,601. Let me write down the question first. The square root of 2,601. Okay, let me make my board bigger so we can solve together. Now, grab your pen and a paper. So let's do this together because it's easy. I've taken you through how to do this. This is another big number. Maybe looking at it, you might not be able to tell what the square root is, but don't you worry. Just go through the process and we'll get the answer together. So let's do it again. Make sure the first thing you do is put that number in the symbol of square root. So put 2,601 in the symbol of square root. And what did I say you do next? Express that number as a product of prime factor. Express that number as a product of its prime factor. What does that mean? You need to divide through that number using only prime numbers. Divide through this number only with prime numbers. Someone want to ask me, Mr. Ogunlaro, what are prime numbers? Easy, let me quickly tell you. Prime numbers are numbers that can only be divided by 1 and themselves. Number that can only be divided by 1 and itself is a prime number. For instance, the only even prime number is 2. The next prime number is 3. Why? Because 3 can only be divided by 1 and 3 alone. No other number can divide prime number, all right, except for 1 and itself. All right, so having gotten that, so let's get to work. Write your 2,601 here, and let's get to work. Like I told you, always look at the last digit. Look at the last digit right here. The last digit is what? The last digit is 1. Is 1 even or odd? I'm waiting. Yes, thank you. 1 is an odd number. Therefore, this whole number cannot be divided by 2. All right? Okay. So, what number will divide this? Yes, go to the next prime number. The next prime number after 2 is 3. So, 3 will divide this. It's good to try out. I know that 3 will divide it, but you can try out to know so that you won't make a mistake. Right? If it's not 3, go to the next prime number, which is 5. If it's not 5, go to the next prime number, which is 7. If it's not 7, go to the next prime number, which is 11. That's how you try. If it's not 11, go to the next prime number, which is 13. If it's not 13, go to the next prime number, which is what? The next prime number after 13 is what? Yes, 17. All right. So let's go. 2 in 26. 3 in 26. How many 3 do we have in 26? Yes, I'm waiting. Someone. 8. Yes. 3 times 8 is 24. Take 24 away from 26. You are left with 2. Your remainder is 2. So 2 and 0 is 20. How many 3 do we have in 20? Yes, I'm waiting. How many 3? Is 6. Thank you. 3 times 6 is 18. Take 18 away from 20. You are left with 2. Put that 2 over here. How many 3? So 2 and 1 is 21. How many 3 in 21? That is 7. Now look at this again. Look at this again. This ends here with 7. Look at it. Well, 7 is an odd number. So obviously, like I've been saying, and if you're following, if it's an odd number, that tells you that this number cannot be divided by the only even number that is also prime, 2. So the next number after 2 is an odd number, which is prime, which is 3. So divide it by 3. 3 in 8 is what? 2. 2 times 3 is 6. Take 6 away from 8, you are left with 2. Put the 2 here. 2 and 6 become 26. So 3 in 26. How many 3 do you have in 26? Is 8. So 3 times 8 is 24. Take 24 away from 26. You are left with what? 2. Pull that 2 here. 2 and 7 is 27. How many 3 do you have in 27? Is 9. Thank you. 9. Thank you. Now, let's look at this number. It ends with 9. It's an odd number. Now, this is where you need to really work to get the right thing. Now, if you start from 3, 3 will not divide this number. Try it. 3 will not divide this number. 3 is the next prime number. It will not divide it. 5 is the next prime number. It will not divide it because the number 5 can only divide number that ends with 0 and 5. 0 and 5. That's what 5 will divide. So this cannot be divided by 5. The next prime number after 5 is 7. Cannot be divided by 7. So you try, but it is 17. It is 17 that will divide this number. 17 in 289. Try it out over there. 17 in 289 is 17. So what will divide 17 again is 17. 17 divided by 17 is 1. So the next thing we shall do now is pair. Pair the numbers that are the same. Pair these. What have you paired? 3. Write it over here. Okay? Pair 17. What have you paired? 17. Write it over there. So you now multiply this out. 3 times 17. So we say 3 times 17. So let's do it together. 3 times 7 is 21, right? So let me make you see what I'm doing. All right. So say 3 times 17. 3 times 17. 3 times 7 is 21. Write 1. Move 2. Now left with 2. 3 times 1, 3 plus 2, 5. So the square root of 2,601 is 51 times 51, which gives 51. Is that clear? So our answer is 51. The square root of 2,601 is 51. All right. Did you understand that? It's quite easy. So let's go to the next one. Let's go to the next one quickly. Let me go to the next question so you can see we are almost done. Someone is already saying, I'm tired. Please don't be tired. We are almost done, okay? Right. So let's go to the next one, number 3. We want to look for the square root of 0.64. Number 3, square root of 0.64. All right. Let me make the board bigger so you can have a better view of how I solved that one. All right. We want to look for the square root of 0.64. Like I told you, it is not 0.64. Very, very wrong. It is not 0.64. It is 0.64 because numbers after decimal points are called singly. Now, don't forget that the first thing you need to do is put that in the symbol of square root. Now, there are 2 ways of doing this. Merely looking at it, you can tell what the answer is. Very, very easy. Just looking at it, you know that square root of 0 is 0. Put your point. Square root of 64 is 8. And that's it. Voila. We're done. The same way you can find square root of 0.16. All right? Just find square root of 0. You know it's 0. Put your point. Square root of 16 is 4. 0.4. All right? So, for those of you who knows, just by glancing at the question, and you can grab it, and you do it straight away. This is for you. So the answer is 0.8. Now, there's another way of doing it. How? You decide to change this to fraction. So you say 0.64. First of all, write the whole number, 64. That would be, can you see? Write the whole number, 64, as your numerator in the fraction. Now, how many digits do you have after the decimal point? 2 digits. Don't forget, in class, I taught you that if you're changing, the first way of changing decimal to fraction is to know how many digits comes after the decimal point. If you have 1 digit after the decimal point, that means your fraction will be over 10. If you have 2 digits after the decimal point, that means your fraction will be over 100. If you have 3 digits after the decimal point, that means your fraction will be over 1,000. If you have 4 digits after the decimal point, that means your fraction will be over 10,000. And it goes on and on like that. You get it now? So very simple. So here we can see that you have 2 digits after the decimal point. So obviously it's going to be what? Over 100. And another way of doing that is also move out this decimal point. The number of times you move it out determines determines what your denominator will be. You can move it out. The number of times you move it out determines what your denominator will be. If you move out the decimal point 1 time, it will be over 10. If you move out the decimal point 2 times, it will be over 100. If you move out your decimal point 3 times, it will be over 1,000. So you can use the first one I said, or you use this one. So the same thing. Move it out. Let's go. 1, 2. And I said 2 times is over 100. So you see there. So the next thing is to find the square roots of these fractions individually. So find square root of 64 and find square root of 100. Okay? All right. And we know that the square root of 64 is 8 times 8. And we also know, can you see that? Let me show you. And we also know that the square root of 100 is 10 times 10. Are you following? It's 10 times 10. Therefore, square root of 64 right here. Therefore, square root of 64 right here is 8. And square root of 100 is 10. Now, that's not a final answer. The question was given, always notice this. If your answer was given in decimal, make sure your answer is in decimal. Except otherwise stated. If it was stated that give your answer in so, that is when you should give your answer in that following the instruction. But if not, the question was given in decimal, give your answer in decimal. If it was in fraction, leave your answer in fraction. You get it now? Although if only if it's stated otherwise, that you don't do that. Now, Here, we can reduce it to the lowest term. How? By dividing it by 2. 2 here is 4. 2 here is 5. You have 4 over 5. How can we take this one to decimal? You can take this one to decimal by simply saying, with 5 divide 4? No. You say 0 point, and you put 0 here. And 5 in 40, that is 8. 0.8. Is it not the same thing? Is it not the same thing with what we got here? Is it not the same thing? Look at it. Is it not the same thing with what we got here? Can you see? It's the same thing with what we got there. Can you see that? So it's the same thing with what we got over there. It's the same thing with what we got up there, over here. So now even from here, even from your 8 over 10, from your 8 over 10 here, you can get your answer. It is 8 over 10. How do you write in decimal? Don't forget I said if there is one digit after your decimal point, that means it's over 10. What does this one tell you? It means it's 0.8. How? Just do this. This 0 means you move in one time. And if you move in one time, if you move in one time, is what I'm saying. If you write your 8, if you move in one time, it will be point and put 0 here. So it's 0.8. All right, let's go to the next one before we round off the class for today. I hope you're following and you're getting along what we're doing. So let's look at what the next question is. And we'll, all right, the next question is to find the square root of 16 over 36. That is quite easy, isn't it? That is quite easy. Number 4. Square root of 16 over 36. Just looking at it, you can tell what the answer is. All right? Can you tell me what the answer is? Let me just do it here. Let me do it here. Can you tell me what the answer is? Class? Let me do it here. What is the answer now? The answer is, yes, drum rolling. Square root of 16 is 4 over, there is not supposed to be point, over, over, where's my slash? Okay. Over, don't worry. All right. It's supposed to be square root, of 16 is 4 over 6. And we can reduce that to the lowest term. If you reduce that to the lowest term, that means 4 divided by 2 will give you 2, and the final answer will be 2 over, now 2 in 6 would give you 3. So the final answer will be 2 over 3. So let me show you how that is done in case you didn't follow that. Let me show you how that is done. So what I'm saying is you have to find the square root of 16 over 36. Can you see that? All right. So find the square root separately. Find the square root of 16. Find the square root of 36. Find the square root of 16. Find the square root of 36. Square root of 16 is 4 times 4. Square root of 36 is 6 times 6. Therefore, the square root is 4 over 6. And you can't leave it like that. Reduce it to the lowest term. 2 here, 2. 2 here, 3. So your answer is 2 over 3. Is that clear? Very simple. So let's go to the next one. And that would be, all right, simplify the following. This simplification is easy. Simplify the following. Number 1 says 25. Number 1 is square root of 25 plus 5. Okay, let me make the board bigger so you can see that as well. Okay, square root of 25 plus 5. We know that square root of 25 is 5. Without working, plus 5. 5 plus 5 is 10. That is quite easy, isn't it? Yes. Square root of 5 is 5 plus 5, 10. So that's the answer for that one. All right. So let's go to the next one. The next one. The next question, please. Let's go to the next question. So the next question says 10 square minus square root of 100. Number 2, it says 10 square minus square root of 100. So 10 square, that's what it means, 10 square. minus square root of 100. All right? So, see the board now. All right. 10 square means 10 raised to power 2 minus square root of 100. Okay? 10 square is 10 times 10. All right? Square root of 100 means a number that multiplies itself to get 100. So 10 times 10 is 100. 10 square root of 100 is 10. Is that clear? So what is 100 minus 10? The answer is 90. That is quite easy as well. Can you see that? That is 90. This is 100. That is 90. I hope you're following. All right. Let's go to the next question. Let's go to the next question. Let's go to the next question. Are you following? So the next question says, the product of one, let me write the question before we go ahead to solve it. The product of one, now product means multiplication. So you're saying multiply 1 over square root of 169 and 1 over square root of 100. So like I told you that product means multiplication. So the product, number 3, the product of 1 over square root of 169 and 1 over square root of 100. So let's see how that is done now. It's very easy. With the help of your square table, you can do this. We know that the square root of 169 is what? Quickly, somebody tell me. That is 13 times 13 that gave rise to 169. So over 1 all over square root of 100, we know that it is 10 times 10 that give rise to 100. So it's 10 times 10. So what we're going to have is, pick one of that. 1 over 13 times 1 over 10. So you're going to multiply out. So multiply the numerator separately over multiply the denominator. So you have 1 times 1 over 13 times 10. 13 times 10. 1 times 1 is 1. 13 times 10 is 130. And that's your answer. Is that clear? And that is your answer. So let's go to the last one and we're done with today's class. Let's go to the last one and we're done with today's class. So the last question, the last exercise before we end the class. I want to say number 4. It says square root of 10 square divided by 5 square. So, all right, let me make you see how this is going to be solved by seeing the board. All right, watch how this is done. Now, let's interpret this one. What this one is saying is 10 squared. That means 10 raised to power 2. Square root of 10 raised to power 2 divided by 5 raised to power 2. Right? These are your right square. 5 squared. See? 10 squared. See? Right. So, this one means 10 squared means 10 times 10 divided by 5 times 5. I'm set to do that in bracket so you won't be confused, all right? Now, I don't even need to multiply this out. If I multiply it out, 10 times 10 will give me 100. And I know that the square root of 100 is still 10. I can just pick one of these, 10, okay? Because I know the square root of 100 is still 10. So I don't need to multiply that out. But if you want us to do that, so let me just do it. By not doing that, we just save us a step. So 10 times 10 is 100, all right? So 5 times 5 is 25, okay? Square root of 100 is 10 divided by 25. That's impossible. Let me write it in a fraction way so you can see how this is done, okay? So we can say 10 over 25. First of all, reduce it to the lowest term. 5 here gives you 2. 5 here gives you 5. Okay, can you see? So you have 2 over 5. All right, your answer is 2 over 5. Or better still, you can put it in decimal. In decimal now, if not 2 over 5, in decimal you can say, can you see what I'm writing? Let me make you see that. So can 2 divide 5? No. So you put 0 point and put 0 here. 5 in 20, that is 4. So your answer can be 0.4 or 2 over 5. Is that clear? So that is that about that one. And I think that is the last exercise. And that brings us to the end of today's class. So in summary, I have taught you square of a number. I said square of a number is that number multiplied by itself to give a particular number. So the square of a number is the product of a number multiplying itself. For instance, the square of 2 is 4. Why? Because 2 times 2 is 4, right? So the square of a number is a particular number multiplying itself to get that number. Now, I also taught you square root. I said square root of a number is one of the number that multiply itself to give a particular number. For example, the square root of 9, I told you is a square root is the reverse or the opposite of square. So square root of 9 going back to the number that multiplies itself to give birth to 9. So what number multiplies itself to give birth to 9? That's 3. Therefore, square root of 3 is 9. Is that easy? Is that simple? So there are other exercises on squares and square roots. So please go online and study. Look for the notes under this with 2 and 3, and do your assignment, please. It's very important that you study at this time, because anytime soon the government might be calling off the lockdown and every activity resumes, especially those of you in year 6, primary 6, your exam just starts, and you know you have several exams to write. Please, I beg you, I trust you, I know you are brilliant, very smart children. Please solve as many questions. You have your short guides and other past questions you can work with. The Lord will crown your effort with success. The Lord will give you wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and you'll be the best at whatever you do in Jesus' mighty name. Please don't you forget, keep safe, always wash your hands under running water with soap and apply alcohol-based sanitizer. And if you must go out, please use your nose mask. Thank you for staying through to this class, to the end of this class. I remain your teacher, Mr. Opularo. Bye for now. Love you all.